some of the very things that, of course, many people find offensive about Donald Trump. He sort of has this strongman aura. He looks at himself as a strongman that's so offensive to us domestically are some of the very things that, we've had diplomats from the Middle East, leaders from the Middle East saying, we don't care about your checks and balances. This guy understands us. We understand him. We can do business with him, which is, again, nothing nice about it.
Yes, Morning Joke on MS-13 DNC this morning. Morning Joke grudgingly confessing that President Trump is cobbling together a peace deal with the troglodytes of Hamas with Israel and getting the Arab country militaries involved as a buffer, which is a new twist that could carry a lot of weight, a lot of impact. But on MSDNC, they've got to spin Middle East peace as a negative because it's Trump. Democrat Party is now against Middle East peace because they don't want to give Donald Trump credit for bringing peace to the Middle East. And we had the Abraham Accords in the first term of President Trump. His son-in-law, Jared Kushner, being very heavily involved in that. Jared Kushner is in the Middle East now. He was in Cairo. I believe they're moving down to Sharm el-Sheikh in southern Egypt, where there is a resort. That's right, an Egyptian resort. And it's supposed to be quite beautiful. I almost made it there one time. I meant to go back and take a look at this. I was in traveling in my previous life as a news guy, traveling with a U.S. Secretary of Defense, and we were in Cairo in Egypt, where they have pyramids and things like that. And we had one of these blue and white Air Force planes, one of the 757s out of Andrews Air Force Base, and I believe that we were all aboard and ready to head out of Cairo down to Sharm el-Sheikh. We had a beautiful resort, and everybody was like, oh, this is really nice. You're really going to like it. And that's about as far as we got before we were told that there was a radical Islamic terrorist threat in Sharm el-Sheikh targeting our airplane and the Secretary of Defense. And so they said, turns out we're not going to go to Sharm el-Sheikh today after all. And that was fine because, I didn't want to get killed. And nobody else on the plane wanted to get killed either. We were all Christians from Western civilization, not desirous of a glamorous death. Yeah, but Sharm el-Sheikh is, I guess, the new location of the negotiations, talking about President Trump heading off to Sharm el-Sheikh, and I got the security on that one would be off the charts crazy nightmare. But Sharm el-Sheikh is a resort in Egypt, I guess, on the southern end of the Sinai Peninsula. I made it down to the Sinai Peninsula anyway, out of Cairo, but that was another issue. And President Trump talking about heading to Sharm el-Sheikh this weekend. I believe he has medical appointments tomorrow in the Washington, D.C. area as President of the United States. But Trump says that he may go to the Middle East this weekend. His son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is already there, and his chief negotiator for everything around the world already there. And this is kind of a big deal. Now, if the president has not Israeli military forces, but Arab nation military forces willing to contribute to a peacekeeping force, and it will be Arab troops between the Gaza Hamas savages and Israel, that could actually be a huge development, an enormous development. That could be what people in this town like to call a game changer. They like to use tired old phrases whenever possible. But the president's peacemaking envoy, Steve Witkoff, is in Egypt, and Jared Kushner's son-in-law, they've gone down to Sharm el-Sheikh on the southern tip of the Sinai Peninsula, where there is a beautiful and very expensive resort, and it's a waterfront resort because there's water everywhere that they don't take advantage of in a Western fashion. But isn't that amazing? President Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner arrived in Sharm el-Sheikh on Wednesday morning to join the negotiations over the the deal to release the remaining hostages, 48 of them, many of them already murdered, the dead bodies that they still haven't released, held by Hamas at the end of the war, and the end of the war in Gaza that has now crossed the 2-year mark. The war has crossed the 2-year mark. Joe Biden did nothing to bring peace when this massacre happened. Joe Biden was a useless nub, and everybody in the world knew it. Putin knew it. He invaded Ukraine. The troglodytes of Hamas knew it. They attacked Israel. War everywhere. War through weakness, peace through strength. And President Trump and his team are pushing hard for both Israel and Hamas to conclude their negotiations within days of and to reach a deal. Now, the indirect talks between Israel, they keep calling them the indirect talks. They have proxies representing, because you can't sit down with Hamas because they'll kill everybody in the room and cut their own heads off, because that's who they are. The indirect talks between Israel and Hamas negotiators started on Monday and have made some progress, but U.S. and Israeli officials have said the negotiations will reach crunch time only when Witkoff and Kushner arrive, and they arrived yesterday. Trump met Tuesday with his top national security team to discuss the progress, the Gaza negotiations, before Witkoff and Kushner departed for Egypt. Yesterday, the president was in the midst of yet another event where he was talking to the press and had people in there meeting with him who had been attacked by Antifa, reporters who had been violently attacked by Antifa, and the rest of the reporters of the White House press corps don't care about reporters being attacked. And the president was holding this meeting, presiding over this meeting, when his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, came into the room and handed the president a note and then whispered into the president's ear. And the president immediately, openly, transparently responded to the Secretary of State coming in, Marco Rubio, handing him a note. It was about Middle East peace and the peace negotiations. And President Trump said there was a big development here and that he was needed immediately. And he actually got up and left the meeting. It was quite a moment.
Okay. I was just given a note by the Secretary of State saying that we're very close to a deal in the Middle East, and they're going to need me pretty quickly. So I will take a couple of more questions.
So I'll take a couple of more questions, just like Joe Biden, right? Just like Barack Hussein Obama, right? So just amazing. And President Trump met on Tuesday with Idan Alexander, a U.S. Israeli citizen, dual citizenship, who was held hostage by Hamas and was released a while back. Now the president is looking to have the remaining 48 hostages released by the savages, many of whom have already been murdered, and they hold on to the dead bodies because they're bloodthirsty ghouls and savages who must be wiped off the face of the earth. But we've got a big movement going on there, big things going on, Middle East peace. And I don't trust Hamas, obviously, nobody does, any farther than I could throw the pyramids, but which is not very far, so I wouldn't trust them very much. But isn't that amazing? Now, let's see. We go to number 27, correct? Let's go to number 27. President Trump last night, called in as things were developing. He called into Sean Hannity's program on the Fox News Channel to talk about where the negotiations are and where the savages are in all of this.
So much is happening to get the hostages freed, and we think they'll all be coming back on Monday. So it looks like that's the thing, and that'll include the bodies of the dead. And you know, the parents that I talked to so many of them, but the parents are almost more intent, but equally intent is getting in just about all cases their son's body back than they are as though the young man was alive. It's just the same intensity. They want their baby's body back. That's what one woman said. I want my baby's body back, and you know the son is 25, 26 years old. So that's a very big part of it.
That is definitely hostages and the murder victims and getting their bodies back. That they're still holding hostages because they're ghoulish, like Hollywood cartoon villains. But the president is making huge progress. And on MSDNC, they're like, oh, it's because Trump is, so they're attacking Trump. At this moment, on MSDNC, that's what they're doing. President Trump yesterday, this was still talking to Sean Hannity last night on the Fox News channel.
I think you're going to see people getting along, and you'll see Gaza being rebuilt. We're forming a council that Council of Peace, we think it's going to be called, and it's going to be very powerful, and it's going to really, I think to a large extent, it's going to have a lot to do with the whole Gaza situation. People are going to be taken care of.
People getting along. I admire the optimism. You can't get anywhere without that kind of optimism, truth be told. But there are a lot of people that are still going to have to be killed. I'm sorry to say. I'm not happy to say that. It's a horrible, terrible thing. But, the Germans in World War II, you had to kill a whole bunch of them because they weren't about to give up. The Japanese weren't about to give up. Democrat President Harry Truman dropped 2 atomic bombs on them, and it still took them days after the second bomb to decide that it was time to stop fighting. President Trump, again, very optimistic and thinking big, and he's talking about rebuilding Gaza because he thinks like a builder. There are skyscrapers all over the world with his name atop of the skyscrapers. And President Trump talking about rebuilding, talking about people getting along, talking about peace, talking about bringing Arab countries in to have them bring their militaries in. So there's no Israeli military, no U.S. military, no NATO countries. And the UN is completely useless. Note the absence of the United Nations in all of this because they're profoundly irrelevant. It's just a kleptocracy that steals billions of dollars every year and does nothing for anyone. The pharmaceutical company Pfizer saves more lives every year than the United Nations. Pfizer brings more comfort to more, this is not an ad, more comfort to more people than the United Nations. I just like to point it out because the Democrats are anti-big pharma and pro-United Nations. Given a choice between the United Nations and big pharmaceutical companies in the United States, I would definitely, without hesitation, choose the big pharmaceutical companies, bringing more comfort, saving more lives, and costing a lot less, notwithstanding what the Democrats will tell you. President Trump.
It's going to be a different world. I think really the Middle East came together. Amazingly, they came together. They have some countries with extraordinary wealth, and just spending a small portion of that wealth can do so much for that area.
Definitely so. And President Trump, just a no-nonsense guy, I've got to say. Man, oh, man. Man, oh, man. Yes, sir. We've got Middle East peace breaking out, and isn't that a terrible thing? At MSNBC, you have more MSNBC from Morning Joke from this morning, right? These people, I want to get to that. Because they're anti-peace now. Trump makes peace. The Democrats, that includes the media, they're anti-peace. President Trump wants to crack down on crime in Chicago, in Portland. The Democrats are pro-crime. Illegal alien gangs flowing in across our southern border. The Democrats are pro-open borders. They're pro-Venezuelan gangs. Tren de Aragua, they're pro-MS-13. We got Democrat senators flying down to have lunch with MS-13 gang members that beat their baby mamas in Maryland. And then the Democrat Maryland senator flies down to cozy up and hug him. The Democrat Party is not democratic. You know that the all-new third-generation Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier is finally available. And the third generation builds on the incredible success of the previous 2 generations, and those earned thousands of 5-star reviews on Al Gore's amazing internet and became a bestseller overnight. The new Thunderstorm uses 2 technologies that studies have shown help to kill up to 99.9% of bacteria and viruses floating in the air you breathe. Also removes dust and pet stuff and smoke and a whole lot more. And it gets rid of any stinky odor. You don't have to buy filters and replace them over and over again either, like some air purifiers. The Thunderstorm will help get rid of any stinky smell, guaranteed. Talking about orders from kitty litter boxes and trash cans and smelly socks and cigarette smoke and liberal protesters, no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Right now, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection because you and I hang out together. Put one in your basement, your teenager's room, your family room. Give one as a gift. It's a hint. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com and use the discount code CHRIS3, CHRIS and the number 3 to save $200 on 3 thunderstorms. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. Ah, yes. So many amazing things going on in the world. Now the Democrats are against peace. I guess they prove it every day in Chicago and Portland and on Capitol Hill, too. Hey, and why do the Democrats keep voting to keep the government closed? What's up with that? All right, I'm going to get to former Congresswoman Katie Porter running for governor of California. She is really something. What a Democrat is she. And the arsonist that burned Pacific Palisades, Los Angeles, California, has been arrested. He's guilty until proven innocent. And Congressman Darrell Issa yesterday posted on Twitter, said, media will declare him a Republican in no time. And they tried. They did. MSDNC, they tried. But right now, let's go to the telephones. And so many stories to get to. Let's go to Joe calling from Charleston, South Carolina. Joseph, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Well, thank you, Mr. Plant, the sharpest mind on radio. You mentioned about the CBS Assembly staffer saying that they should treat Republicans, Democrats equally, right?
Yes, yeah, it's a headline.
Well, I'm just claiming that they already do.
Do they?
Yes, they lie about the Democrats and they lie about the Republicans.
Well, that is a form of equal treatment. I like that. But is there any qualitative difference when the Democrats, the media tell lies about the Republicans versus the lies they tell about the Democrats?
Well, that's above my pay grade. I'm just going with quantitative right now.
That's good. I got to say, Joe, that's on that level, they are definitely treated fairly. And this is the CBS brought in a new boss, and this is actually a big deal, and it genuinely is a big deal because the woman they brought in is Bari Weiss. Bari Weiss, to those in the know, is an actual serious, intelligent journalist, an even-handed journalist who does want fair play for America. CBS News staffers received their new marching orders. Bari Weiss named editor-in-chief of CBS News on Monday, and I'm going to add more to this. All right, well, we're remaining very hopeful on Middle East peace. It's kind of, to dream the impossible dream. What's that? Is that from a musical? Yeah, it's one of them. Thanks. That was good. But our last brilliant caller Joe was talking about, I read a headline a little while ago, and it's fun and it's true. And Bari Weiss is a serious intellect and a serious journalist, and she is a respected and respectable journalist, an honorable journalist. That's a rare commodity these days. Amazingly, it shouldn't be. It's pretty easy to be fair, but not if you're a lefty, I guess. The headline from the Fox News people, CBS News staffers receive new marching orders, urged to treat Democrats and Republicans equally. And Joe is saying, they already do. They lie about Democrats and they lie about Republicans. And they lie about Democrats telling us everything is great. They're so wonderful. Boy, they're not rioting anywhere. This is mostly peaceful. And they didn't have 550 riots across the country and set fire to the Church of the Presidents and force the evacuation of President Trump and his family from the White House. They didn't do any of that. But the Republicans, January 6th, there was the only insurrection. It was, there's an insurrection going on in Chicago today and yesterday and the day before, going on in Portland today and yesterday and the day before, and they're all Democrats rebelling against an established authority. But never mind that. They do lie about Republicans and they lie about Democrats. But now CBS News staffers, they got new marching orders. Now, the permanent bureaucracy there may destroy Bari Weiss before she can bring journalism back to the organization. And CBS News staffers received new marching orders urged to treat Democrats and Republicans equally. David Ellison wants less partisan division. They put that in quotation marks. As Bari Weiss sends first internal memo as CBS News boss. CBS News boss. CBS News staffers have received their new marching orders. Bari Weiss, who was named editor-in-chief of CBS News. Dan Rather, I think, was the editor-in-chief of the CBS Evening News. On Monday, 3 days ago now, after her outlet, the Free Press, was acquired by Paramount for $150 million. Now, Bari Weiss is one of the founders. I assume she's getting tens of millions of dollars out of the deal herself, and congratulations to her. If you build it, they occasionally come. And acquired by Paramount for $150 million, the Free Press said in her first memo to staffers that she wants Democrats and Republicans held equally accountable. You can hold them in equal contempt, just treat them equally. The opportunity to build on that legacy with you and to renew it in an era that so desperately needs it is an extraordinary privilege. Right now, I imagine you have some questions. I do too, Bari Weiss wrote in a memo obtained by Fox News Digital. My goal in the coming days and weeks is to get to know you. I want to hear from you about what's working and what isn't, and your thoughts on how we can make CBS News the most trusted news organization in America and the world. I'll approach it the way any reporter would, with an open mind, a fresh notebook, and an urgent deadline, Bari Weiss wrote. Pretty good stuff. Weiss listed 10 core journalistic values, and that's what she called them, core journalistic values, among them holding, quote, both American political parties to equal scrutiny, end quote. Journalism that reports on the world as it actually is. Journalism that is fair, fearless, and factual, the 3 Fs. Journalism that respects our audience enough to tell the truth plainly wherever it leads. Journalism that makes sense of a noisy, confusing world. Journalism that explains things clearly without pretension or jargon. And abbreviations, try to keep the abbreviations and acronyms to a bare minimum, please. Journalism that holds both American political parties to equal scrutiny. Journalism that embraces a wide spectrum of views and voices so that the audience can contend with the best arguments on all sides of the debate. Imagine that. These sound like good ideas, journalistically speaking. Journalism that rushes toward the most interesting and important stories, regardless of their unpopularity. Journalism that uses all of the tools of the digital era. Journalism that understands that the best way to serve America is to endeavor to present the public with the facts first and foremost. Now, that all sounds really fundamental and obvious, but it's not what you find in newsrooms across the United States of America, not nearly as commonly as we ought to be able to find it in newsrooms. So isn't that an amazing idea? Now, Bari Weiss, who quit the New York Times in 2020 after alleging bullying by her colleagues, went on to launch the Common Sense newsletter in 2021 before rebranding it as The Free Press and expanding it into a full-fledged media company in 2022. So she founded it, and I got to say, I think this is absolutely great. I'm very happy for her. I need to learn to be as smart as her. sold it to Paramount for $150 million. I think she can get that really nice car she's been thinking about now. Isn't that wonderful? So Ellison, who took over as Paramount CEO in August, following the company's merger with Skydance Media, also sent a memo to staffers on Monday echoing his hand-picked CBS News chief's call to tamp down partisanship, which you really shouldn't have to do. Now, I grew up in a CBS News family, and my stepfather was a CBS News network news correspondent, TV news correspondent for 52 years, covered the White House. He did, Bill Plant, from the first day of the Reagan administration to the last day of the Obama administration, sometime doing that. And when I was, my mother married Bill Plant when I was 5 years old, and my mother was on a CBS station in Milwaukee where she had a television show before she married Bill Plant. Her father, my mother's father, was on that same CBS station in Milwaukee, WISN, for many years. And when I was a kid, used to watch had the CBS eye all over the house, and used to watch my grandfather and my mother on the CBS station in Milwaukee as a little kid. I thought everybody's family was on TV all the time. And CBS News was the Tiffany network, the Cadillac, the gold standard of news in the Walter Cronkite era and all that stuff. We had Walter Cronkite over to the house for a backyard barbecue once, and it was like the Pope visiting. And then CBS went south. It went in the direction that all the rest of the media went because too many hardcore Democrats took over. And look, Walter Cronkite was a Democrat and Dan Rather was a Democrat, but they weren't as bad back then, not by a long shot, as the news media has gotten today. And now CBS News, the Paramount megacorp, and the CEO there, Ellison, with Barry Weiss taking over the news division. This is a gigantic experiment, and I was texting people, CBS people, and saying, well, will the bureaucracy there trample her, roll over her, destroy her? Will she be able to get the job done? And I suspect that there's going to have to be a little bit of a bloodletting because some people will be discovered to be undermining her, and they're going to have to be dropped off the roof like gay people in the Gaza. You know, like gay people in Gaza. So we got that. Yes, sir. And since you brought it up, I wanted to get back to that. And it's a story I brought in with me today because I wanted to get to that. And I will keep my ear to the ground. I'll keep my eyes peeled. Keep an eye on all this. And you know, God, do I have to start watching the CBS Evening News again? I'm not watching. I'm monitoring. It's like I always said about the Democrats in the Obama and the Biden administrations. They don't listen to my radio show, but they do monitor it. It's a very different thing. Now, all right, now let's get to this Democrat that's running for governor in California named Katie Porter. She's a former member of the House of Representatives. She ran for the Senate. She lost to pencil neck Adam Schiff, his wife calls the inchworm. And Katie Porter, there are headlines everywhere now because she keeps popping up, this Democrat Katie Porter. California gubernatorial candidate Katie Porter screams at staffer during video call, "Get out of my beeping shot!" All right, and she keeps showing up being a vicious, mean, nasty person, and new videos keep emerging. People around her, I think, are making the videos public because they don't like her, and they're fellow Democrats, of course. Now, let me see, Michael. This starts at number 15. So let's go to 15. Katie Porter. This is just leaked video from 2021 where she's doing what is effectively a Zoom call or a FaceTime, sitting at a desk in what appears to be her home, very expensive home. Where do they get all these expensive homes? And this 2021 call, there's a staffer behind her, and she becomes very angry with the staffer because in the Zoom call, the woman is 25 feet behind her in the kitchen or something. She's getting a Tostito, and this is what the woman who wants to be governor of California said when she saw that her staffer was behind her in her shot.
The state could lose. Get out of my shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't meet the commitments under the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, it does. Okay, you also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot. Okay, I'm going to start again with electric vehicles saving us money. Perfect.
I'm going to start again with electric vehicles saving us money. The staffer was correcting her because she heard her say on this video feed something that was factually incorrect. And the staffer, trying to do her job and do a good job and correct her idiot, moron, angry, cursing B word of a boss. That's a B word is boss. That's what B word stands for, is her boss. And said, that was inaccurate, she said. And she's correcting her. And then she shouts her down and treats her like trash. Katie Porter, in an interview, this surfaced a couple of days ago. And this is interesting because she did the interview with the CBS local station in California a month ago, and the video never surfaced. It never aired because the CBS station in California, unless they're holding it for some special presentation later on, they decided not to air this. But a nice lady, a nice reporter named Julie Watts, was interviewing all the Democrat candidates for governor of California and went into all the interviews with the same list of questions on a printed out sheet of paper. And she's asking them all the same questions. And Katie Porter decided that she doesn't have to answer these questions, and she'll tell the reporter, Julie Watts, what questions she will ask, and then she'll decide what questions she will answer because she imperiously behaves like a member of the North Korean ruling family.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, man?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%. Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're saying.
In a general election? Yes.
So what do you say to Trump voters? I have nothing to say to 40% of the population of California. And I've got to say, the reporter, Julie Watts, was a little bit incredulous, and it's not a very politic or political thing to say. Screw 40% of the population of California, whatever number that is, 15 million people or something. We don't care about people that voted for Trump. I don't need them. I'm against them.
So you don't
I
think
feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
correct. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written, and I'll answer it.
Ask the question as it is written, and I'll answer it. She's telling her how to ask the question, what question to ask, and then I'll answer it. I'll answer my question, but I won't answer your question. And I've got to say, the reporter was, again, incredulous.
Well, to those voters, okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Well, follow-ups, you can't have follow-ups to questions that are asked. I'll just give you the fake shorthand answer, and you take what I tell you, and I'll give you no more. And now I'm done telling you. I mean, again, the imperiousness, the royal conduct, extraordinary stuff. There's more of her, and she's provided us with some of our favorite sound bites over the last couple of years, too. You know, the big wireless companies have been pulling one over on all of us, and it's time to make the switch to consumer cellular. I did, and I'm getting the same fast, reliable, nationwide big wireless coverage, same towers, same transmitters, same networks, without the big wireless cost every month. And it's not just about saving money every month on my bill, but that's good. It's also about not being used and abused by the big cell phone companies. Do you have any idea how much data you use every month? I have no idea myself. Most people over 50 use less than 8 gigs of data in a given month. But Big Wireless shoves all of us into an unlimited plan because they need to redistribute your payments to cover the cost of younger people who use 10 times as much data as you use. But if you're not using all that data, then bad news, you are the one being used by your cell phone company. When you've had enough of that, make the switch to consumer cellular. They set me up with a service and a phone, and and it's incredibly easy to make the switch. You call them on the phone. You talk to an actual human being, not a touchpad or a computer. The person you talk to is based right here in the United States, not on a space platform. Real human beings that are actually helpful. It'll only take you about 20 minutes to make the switch, so give them a call today and do the right thing by yourself. Call 1-800-760-0702. That's 800-760-0702. Yeah. All right, we've got more Katie Porter, the Democrat, coming up. And the arsonist in California. But I thought it was global warming.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make...
So you're not going to answer questions from reporters?
All right, we've got more Katie Porter, and we've got more on the government shutdown. The Democrats love the government shutdown. You know, they shut the government down, and they lie about it, and the news media lies about it with them. Maybe CBS News will tell the truth tonight. I'll probably take a look for you. Let's go to the telephones in the meantime, Michael. Let's go to Patricia calling from Nevada. Patricia, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Calling from Nevada. If you say Nevada, people will correct you.
I was reading.
I was there when Jeb came. He was starting his presidential campaign. I was invited to this meeting with him, and he said Nevada, and as one, everyone there said Nevada. He went on talking, and later he pronounced the name of the state again. He said Nevada. That's when I knew he had no chance.
That's funny. Well, I won't explain that. Jeff wrote out on the screen Nevada, and I always pronounce it Nevada, don't I, Patricia?
Yes, you do, always.
I do. So what do you know? I'm going to run up the clock on you here.
Okay, sorry. I wonder, my question about the developing peace deal in Gaza is, how will we know that the Arab militaries that will be between the Israelis and the Gazans won't eventually, sooner or later, side with the Gazans, turn around, and try to eliminate Israel?
That is an excellent question.